Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Jeanne Bundy and welcome to Show and Tell. Today I'm going to do making art fun. I want to do some artwork. Very easy, fun to do. You can do it with your children if you choose to. First we're going to talk about glue guns, because that's what we're going to do with our glue sticks and our glue guns. We're going to design patterns on cardboard. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the different kinds of glue guns. Gives you a different aspect to what you're doing on the artwork. This one is a small tip. It's pointed, so you're going to get more of a precision line. This one here is a thicker one, and you're going to get a thick line. And that's okay, because sometimes you want that for trees, you want it for branches, you want it for all kinds of things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. Now, there are many different glue sticks out there. I mean, a lot of times around Christmas, I'll pick up the gold ones, because I like to do gold in all my artwork. Then, of course, for the spring, I always choose the pink. I like to make pink flowers. I like to make peonies. I like to make pink roses. And I'll show you how to do some of that. And then this is just the multicolors. You can get these at all the different craft stores. There's no special ones that are better than the others. Now, let's talk about the clear ones. And I'm going to see if the cameraman can actually, or the camera lady, can kind of focus on what these are. These are clear. They're called crystal clear, and they are see-through. So when we put them on our artwork, they don't see any cloudiness to them. These are not clear. They're just standard ones. They're just as good. There's no problem with them. It's just the effect that you're looking for. That's what we need to do. So shall we begin? Okay. So let's start with some of the basics. For instance, oh my, a blank canvas. What on earth do we do with that? Most people, when they see a blank canvas, they get very upset. They get nervous because they don't know where to begin, right? So if you're one of those artists that love to draw, you love to sketch, by all means, take it to the next level and do that. But if you're one of those artists that you look at this and it scares the dickens out of you, then let's try something simpler. Something that you can do, your children can do, and you can have a whole lot of fun with it. So we're going to go step by step. The first thing we're going to do, if you don't draw or you don't sketch, they have these things called stencils. Easy peasy. You buy a stencil that you like, right? And then, now there are many different ways to mount this stencil. I just mounted it in the center because most people, I feel like that's what they would do. But I can also take this off, which is very easy. And suppose I want half of my sunflower on the bottom. Suppose I want the other half on the top. It doesn't matter. It's what you like, what you enjoy doing, and how to do it. And it's fun to be creative. So I'm going to show you the next slide. Now, we've already taped that. We did that in full color. Now, this is what you come up with. I traced it with a pencil. I know some people like to do ink. For me, ink is too permanent. Because if I don't like something on it, it's easily erased with the pencil. Also, I did these little lines in here. I followed the stencil to the fullest. For me, when I went to go and put the hot glue on it, I found that maybe I didn't want those pieces. And that's okay. You adjust your artwork to what is needed for you and what makes it fun for you, right? So now let's talk about, before we get into the hot glue, let's talk about low temperatures in the hot glue gun and high temperature in the hot glue gun. The low setting comes out very slowly. And when you're doing artwork like this, You might, if you don't have a steady hand, you might just want it to come out very, very slowly so you can be more precise. If you're one of those people that have a steady hand and you like it to come out really quick and you can get the design done fast, then by all means, use the high setting. Each glue stick, each glue will set at its own rate. So you don't have to worry about it actually hardening. It will harden. Whether you're using low, whether you're using high, it doesn't matter. The thing I found with, once I did these, and I'll show you, is you have to watch out when you're using a very high volume. It leaves a lot of strings into the artwork, which is fine because you can get them out with a tweezer or you can get them out with a toothpick. But if you don't want to go through all that hassle, I find using a low setting much more to my convenience. And it helps, I get it more precise, and that's how I work with it. But you have to find what you like to do and what is easier for you to do. So now, let's review. We started with our blank paint canvas, right? We went to our stencil, and then we traced our stencil. So we have already 3 different things that we've done in one episode. So now, this is what it looks like after you applied the hot glue. The hot glue, as you can see, I still have some of those little pieces, which is fine. Later on, I'll take them off. But you'll notice that on this one, I chose not, unless you can see it, I chose not to do these little knobs because I found the little knobs to just be annoying. And for me, I don't like annoying. I like it simple, I like it easy, and I wanted it to look like a sunflower. So that's what I did. And I get to do that. I get to choose that. So this is what it's going to look like once you've done your hot glue. Where do you begin? Where do you want to begin? For me, I never begin in the center. And that's only because I like to begin at the end. And this way I can go consistently throughout all the hoops, over and over and over again. It almost gets to be like a meditative stance, where I'm just going over them and over them, tracing the lines that I've already put on the paper. Then, once I've got those all done, then I'll make a ring around the center. And that way it includes all those little tiny bubbles. That is the center of the sunflower, which makes up so pretty. Now there's so many different ways now to finish this. You don't have to finish it the way I chose to finish it. You can finish it many different ways. There are some people that will actually take the outside of this and color it, which is fine. Some of them will use markers, which is fine. There are so many different ways in order for you to advance, in order for you to have fun with art. And so I'm going to show you a couple of things that I did, and then you can decide for yourself. Gives you a few ideas. So the first one I did was I just painted it. I just painted it in gold with a little bit of copper, and that's all I did. Simple, easy. You know, I didn't want to make it overly exaggerated. So that's exactly what I did. I think it came out pretty cool. Whatever, it's fine. Now the next one, for some of you will recognize this right away. This is called paint pouring. And paint pouring, I did on this after I had traced it all with the gun, with the glue gun. And what I did was this. I mixed up the colors that I like in my palette. As you can tell, I like purple. So I did purple, magenta, white, and I mixed them with, I got acrylic paint, I mixed them with PVC glue and some water, so that way I could thin them out. And once I could thin them out enough, then I could do what's called a paint pouring. And paint pouring is basically all you're going to do is you're going to take the paint that I've done, and usually I can't show you because we don't have an overhead, but I will take a cup and I usually go around and around and around in a circle, so that way it pours onto the canvas. Now there are many ways that people will do it. Some people will then take this and put it in a spinner, and they'll spin it. And they'll keep spinning it until it gets all the colors where they want it to. Others will just tilt. And you can do it any way you choose. For me, I used a blow dryer. Interesting. I like using the blow dryer just because I find it more accurate. And I start at one end and blow it the other way. I start it at the other end and blow it the other way. And then I bring it down and above. And so that way, it covered the whole thing in the pinks, the purples, the white. And then, once it was all dried, I decided that I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. And so I went around each and every flower petal, and I painted it. I painted it magenta, just because I felt like it, and that's what I had. And I thought that way it would pop and make it stand out more, right? And so there are many different things, many different ways that you can make art matter. You can make art fun. You can make art creative, right? It's all in our imaginations. So don't let a blank screen make you feel like you don't know how to do anything, because you do. You do. Having fun with art, with Jeanne Bundy, let me tell you, I do a lot of crazy things, and it's a lot of fun. I've done paint pouring vases. I've done it all, and it's a lot of fun to do. So I want to show you some of the other things. This was just the flower we did, and it gives you an idea of how you can then start, because that's the key. It's starting. Now, you'll notice that I did these on panels. And it's just because I find it easier to teach with panels. You can just use canvas. It doesn't matter. Canvas will hold it the same way. The only problem I see with canvas, and I'll show you, is a lot of times you might have to prep the canvas, right? And what does that mean, prep the canvas? Because you want the holes to be tight. You don't want the holes to be like absorb the glue. You don't want them to absorb the color. So what you might want to do is just put in, they have all kinds of prep paint. I personally don't buy anything special. I buy white paint. And that's what I use. You just want some kind of a sealer, especially for these kind of projects. So you can go to the store. They have many different ones there. You can choose whatever ones you like. But for me, keep it simple, keep it inexpensive, and keep it fun. And so I use white paint. So now I'm going to show you some of the other things that you can do with the glue. Just because we have some time, and I wanted to just share with you that it's not so hard. This was a rose. And so if you look, this is done with a very, very fine pointed glue gun. So I very barely just touched the outside of it. And then what I did was I put crystals here. They're not real. And then this is, it's foil. And there are many kinds of foil out there, but the foil I like to use, it comes in sheets. You buy a separate glue for it. And what you do is, how do you use it? So you put the glue on there for about 30 minutes. You let it set. Walk away from it. Don't do like me. I'm very impatient when I do art. I like to hurry up and get it done. That's not how art is. So trust me, let it stay for about 30 minutes. Let it set wherever you're going to put the glue, wherever you want this foil to be. Then put your foil on. It's very sticky, and it'll stick right to it, and then you leave it and walk away. You try not to get it too much on the outside because it will stick to anything, right? So you're basically trying to just get it so that it sticks to the part where you want it to stick to. And so this is the part I wanted to. And so I did that. Then, once it's completely dried, what I need you to come back and do is, this is the fun part. You get an old brush, an old paint brush, it doesn't matter, with stiff bristles. And then you just brush along the sides, taking out all the excess foil that's not sticking. And that's when you end up with the different pieces. Now, as far as these, I do use real crystals in my artwork. These are not, these are just plastic. If you choose to use real crystals, then research what kind of glue you should be using. Because you can find that crystals are real and they have a living essence. And you definitely don't want to put some harsh glue. So I use the E36000, and that seems to be okay. But I'm sure there are many others out there. And I think you could have a lot of fun with it, with different crystals, making different ideas, making different subjects, and different flowers. It don't have to be a flower, it can be a tree, whatever you choose. So now, let's talk about something else. Now, I do apologize, because I've had this cold for like 2 weeks, and it's just not going. So, this is on wood. This is a separate piece of wood, and I bought this at one of the local suppliers, this outside piece. I bought the wood at the local supplier, and then I decided that I wanted to do this in like a mandala. Well, I didn't really know how to make one, but they do have stencils that are mandalas. And I thought that would be really cool to do one. And so, as you can tell, it's in my paint palette, right? Pinks, purples. So what I did was, I put this is a piece of wood that has been glued on after I did it. What I did was this. I put the stencil on top of the wood. So yes, you can glue on top of wood. You can glue on anything that the glue stick will stick to. The only thing it won't stick to, and this is a fun one, is silicone. So if you have a silicone mat, this is a really quick tip. We might do a class on it. We'll see. You can actually draw something on the silicone mat, let it dry, and then peel it off. And it's one piece. I've done trees, I've done all kinds of different things. So there's so much adventure you can do with hot glue. So be creative, and it's all good. So now this one, I decided that each and every one I would trace. Let me tell you, it was a project. It was not an easy peasy project. It was one of those that it was winter, and it was cold. And yours truly decided this would be a good winter project, and it worked. So I was very happy once I did it. I outlined it all, but then I chose that I didn't like it to be just outlined. I wanted it to be filled in. I don't know if the camera person can get that, but these are all filled in. So all these were outlined, and then I went in and filled it in with hot glue. So each one is now filled in. So then I said, okay, it looked really nice even without the foil. But I was into foil that week, could you tell? So I decided that I would do foil. This one was the most difficult one I've done. And the reason being is because each and every one was very tiny to get the glue on without it spreading throughout the wood. So when you're using those foil pieces on top of the glue, just be careful. You make a mistake, don't worry about it. Scrape it off, right? It's a lot of fun. And so I did all of this, then I painted it, and then this little rose, it just happened to be in my drawer. And I thought that's something that it should be there. So that's it. That's wood. Okay, so now we're going to talk about something that I just brought these in because I knew I would have extra time to talk about different kinds of artwork. And so this artwork, it started off with just me scribbling. Isn't that amazing? I started to just make little circles over and over again, over and over again. I started to branch the circles out. I started to bring all the circles together. So I did this. I wanted it to look like a rose. So what do you think? Think it came out looking like a rose? I'm thinking more like a peony because it's a very big cluster in the middle. But it's all artwork, right? And it's all ours. So it's all good. So now, what do I do with it? Right? So I decided that I didn't want to do any kind of foil. I didn't want to do any kind of acrylic paint. So I got some watercolor. And I mixed the watercolor actually with acrylic paint. And I just kind of brushed it across it, just to give it like a whitewash type of thing, which I felt that that's all it needed because it was so unique in the way it was. And so I liked it. So I kept it that way. So what I'm saying to you is this. Don't let the standards of artwork become what you have to do. That's not how art works. Art comes in to help you to feel creative, to feel wonderful, to be able to enjoy the beauty you can bring. And if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be. It's perfect to you. And that's all it counts, right? So, I mean, I've got many big projects, and this is like a big canvas. I mean, where do we do with this, right? Where do we go from here? Do I draw on it? Do I make a trail? Do I make a mountain? This is what I'm saying. The possibilities are endless to whatever you can do or want to do, especially children. I know you have to be very careful with the glue guns with children, be very cautious. I wouldn't just give them one and allow them to trace anything. So maybe you could intervene, and maybe they could trace the outline, and then you could trace the glue gun for them, right? If they're not old enough to actually hold the glue gun. So you have to be very cautious because they do burn. I know that from experience. They do burn. So be very cautious with it. That's my one thing I have to say if you're using it with children or even with yourself. You got to remember that glue gets sticky. And when that glue gets sticky, you think that you can grab it. No. Because trust me, it's hot. So you have to always have caution. Whatever artwork you're doing, whatever you're trying, whatever you want to do, but always remember, don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to open up your expansion of knowledge. YouTube is loaded with stuff. Go and learn something new. Go and see something new. Be creative. Open your mind. Allow for yourself to have some kind of enjoyment. The times now are not as great as they used to be, and that's okay. For now, we just need to bring beauty into the world. More and more beauty that we can bring helps us to feel much better. And so with that, I'm going to wrap it up because I have no more. And so I thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed this segment. And remember, it's on Show and Tell. And this is Jeanne Bundy with Making Art Fun. Thank you so much. I enjoyed each and every one of you. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you like. And maybe we can do this again. Thank you.